Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on what time you're watching this video. It's me again, Teacher Kent. And today, we're gonna review our new topic. Since we've already finished our previous topic, we are going to have a new topic for today. And our new topic is all about rocks. That's right. It's about rocks. Are you ready to learn more about rocks? Let's start, shall we? Let me just send a, let me just share the screen about rocks and the rock cycle. There you go. Now, it's about the rock and the rock cycle. Before we talked about rock cycle, we need to know first, what is a rock? For me, a rock is when a hard object is above the ground, right? It's a hard object above the ground that is not man-made, meaning we did not make it. It was already there when we are born or even longer than us. That for me is a rock. What about you? What do you think of when we talk about rocks? You're probably thinking a gray rock. That's usually, or a black rock. That's usually what you think of when you're talking about rocks. Am I right? But don't worry. It's not just that. In fact, there are three different types of rocks. That is right. Not just one, not just two, but three. Three different types of rocks. Let's study the first type first. Igneous rock. The first type is igneous rock. Say it with me. Igneous. Igneous. One more time. Igneous. Very good. The second type of rock is the sedimentary. Again, say it with me. Sedimentary. Sedimentary. That's the second type of rock. The third type is the metamorphic. The third type is the metamorphic rock. We got three kinds of rock, remember? Igneous, sedimentary, and metamorphic. Now, let's continue, shall we? This here is what we call the rock cycle. If you look closely, you will see that the igneous rock, the metamorphic rock, and even the sedimentary rock, they are grouped together, or they are in a what we call a cycle. A cycle means that it starts from one point, it goes to another point, and then it goes back to the first point. Basically, it means it goes around in a circle. That's why it's called cycle. Cycle, circle. It basically means that. Now let's continue. Let's talk about igneous rocks first. Igneous rocks are formed by magma and lava as it cools. Igneous rocks form in two different ways. Rock that comes from lava cools very fast and can either be very light and airy, or the rocks can be glassy. Or rocks that come from magma are formed underground. They are oftentimes very hard and have more colors. Now, there are two types of igneous rocks. That's right, there are two types. First is intrusive. Intrusive, which means that it is formed inside, okay? Intrusive igneous rock. Inside of what, you may ask? Well, inside of the ground. That's right. Some rocks are actually formed underground. That's why it's called intrusive igneous rocks. They are formed inside the ground. The second type is the extrusive. The extrusive igneous rocks, or the rocks that are formed where? The rocks that are formed outside the ground. So first we have intrusive igneous rocks, and second is extrusive igneous rocks. Now, the intrusive igneous rocks, they come from magma. You know what is magma, right? It's the very hot substance found on the inside of the earth. And when that substance goes out, it's no longer magma. It's now lava. Okay? It basically means the same thing. It's just that they have different names because they have different places, or they are found in different places. Magma is found under the ground, but once it goes out of the ground via volcanic eruption or via volcano, it becomes lava. Magma, lava. Now, rocks that are formed inside the ground, class, they are very beautiful. They have a lot more colors than the ones that are formed outside the ground. Why do you think that is? It's because the rocks that are formed inside the ground do not have a lot of air. Because inside the ground, there's little to no air, right? Outside the ground, when it is formed outside, when there is lava that moves out and forms rocks, it will become a lot more airy, or it will have a lot more space for air. If you look at the picture below, the third photo, that is an extrusive igneous rocks because it can be very light and there's a lot of holes in them because those are the holes that are created by the air pockets. The second and third are examples of extrusive igneous rocks, while the others are intrusive igneous rocks. Now, we're done with the igneous rocks. Let's go to the second type. Oh, look at it here. Here's an example of all the different types of rocks that are formed. Different igneous rocks. We got basalt, pumice, scoria. We got, for the extrusive, also obsidian is also extrusive. I actually like obsidian because it's a lot dark. It's a very dark color rock and it's very shiny. While intrusive, we have pipe, granite, shale, dike, and laccolith. That's intrusive igneous rocks. Second type of rock, the sedimentary rocks. Sedimentary rock is made when sediments, sand, gravel, and dirt are pressed together over time and becomes a rock. Sedimentary rock is formed in layers. These are examples of sedimentary rocks. From the word sediments, okay? Sedimentary rocks come from the word sediments. Now, what does sediments mean? It means different type of mixtures. Do you remember mixtures, right? Different kinds of substances. A mixture is two or more substances. Sedimentary rock, it's a mixture of different substances. It's a lot like, it's a mixture too, except they are pressed together over time. What do we mean when they say pressed together? It means that there are forces that push them together over a certain amount of time. So what are these forces? Well, sedimentary rocks can be found usually near rivers. So water is one of those forces. Remember, when a river moves, it carries around sand, gravel, and dirt. And sometimes those sediments, those substances will be left under or near the surface of the river. Then the water will slowly push them together. That is the pressure that creates sedimentary rocks. In fact, sedimentary rock is formed in layers. How does this happen? Let's take, for example, there's a landslide near a big river. Some of the land go down the water, so those sand particles become one layer. It's carried by the water and it'll become one layer of sedimentary rock. After a certain number of times, there's a lot of rocks that fall down on top of the ground or the soil that is the first layer. That's going to be the second layer. Then another one will come on top, and then they will form a lot of layers. That is what we call sedimentary rocks. They are formed in layers. In fact, you can see them right there. They are very beautiful, and you can usually find them on riverbeds, even under different types of circumstances. Like, for example, a volcano erupts. It's not just making igneous rocks, it will also make sedimentary rocks, especially when there's a big boulder that goes down and applies pressure on one rock layer. That is an example of sedimentary rocks. Don't worry, we will talk more when we start our class about the different types of rocks. See that? Those are the examples of different sedimentary rocks. We got limestone, shale, sandstone, and granite. If you look closely, it is pressing together, and they have different types of names for those different layers. That means those are different types of sedimentary rocks. Metamorphic rock, the last type of rock. Metamorphic rocks are made from other rocks. Oh, so they are made from sedimentary or igneous rock or fellow metamorphic rock. There are different types of metamorphic rock, and some of them will become another type of metamorphic rock. Heat and pressure help change an igneous or sedimentary rock into a new kind of rock. Think about how a caterpillar becomes a butterfly. Oh, heat. Remember how a caterpillar becomes a butterfly? It's actually under a cocoon, right? After it becomes a cocoon, it will slowly transform inside the cocoon and it will become a butterfly. Heat and pressure help change an igneous or sedimentary rock into a new kind of rock. So, for example, remember what I said when there is a volcanic eruption? There's not just sedimentary rocks, there's also metamorphic rocks that will be formed when the lava passes over a certain area. Now, what will happen? Let's say that there's already a sedimentary rock outside. Then lava passes through it, it becomes an igneous rock. Then a few years after, a boulder falls down and it will force the two types of rocks to join together. That is an example of a metamorphic rock. Those are examples of metamorphic rock. Look here, volcanic eruption creates igneous rocks, then sediments. The igneous rocks will then be carried by the water as sediments, then they will form sedimentary rock. Then after heat and pressure, they become metamorphic rock. And then if they get hit by magma again, they become igneous rocks again. That is the rock cycle. Now, of course, that is not only what is the rock cycle. We are going to dive deeper into the rock cycle. We're going to study your book. So please be ready for your book on Friday. For now, that is it. It's just a simple review about the rocks and rock cycle. If you listen, by Friday, you would understand more. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask me on Friday. Don't worry though, the rocks, it's actually a very fun topic and I will try to make it fun for you as well. Goodbye, see you on Friday.